today I want to again talk about the grave consequences of pride and ego in science. So last time we talked about Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla, their rivalry, how it pushed back progress for decades to come, and Louis Pasteur and Antoine Béchamp, okay? And I want to talk about this because I'm seeing this happening right now where we're living. Again, where ego and pride is a huge source of stopping progress in science right now. And I'm going to start with a story time again. This time it's about Ignaz Semmelweis. Ignaz Semmelweis. So he was a physician in the 1800s, and he was a good doctor, very reputable. But in the clinic he worked in at the hospital, he noticed that the mothers who delivered their babies in their hospital had a very high chance of mortality and they died. Whereas at the next door clinic hospital, where the babies were delivered by midwives, the mother and the baby survived. So he was thinking, what can it be? And he noticed that the difference is that the surgeons went straight from operating on cadavers, on dead people, straight to the delivery room and delivered the babies without washing their hands or gloves. So he at the time they didn't know what germs was and stuff. So, but he just thought maybe we need to wash our hands before we deliver the babies. What happened? When he said that, he was made fun of. He was ostracized. It was a big issue for the ego of the doctors that he was telling them they need to wash their hands, they're dirty. So the opposition was so strong. The poor guy had huge depression, went into alcoholism, and he even died in an asylum for crazy people. So imagine if the ego of the doctors were not that strong and they had said, let's just try it, how many women would have been saved, okay? Same thing is happening now. We have all these scientists coming out, and like Neil Tyson deGrasse, for example, he's a scientist. Wow, very respectable, but you're an astrophysicist. You do not have the right to talk about every other science except for astrophysicists. But because he's now famous scientist, he goes there and talks about nutrition, immunology, whatever, and says the science is clear, the science is settled. Science is never settled, okay? And then there is this Dr. Knock, the young geeky guy. It comes full of pride and confidence. The science, the science, the science. I know it gives you a big ego boost to say the science, you know. Well, I'm a scientist too, but if you were to ask me about global warming, what do you think as a scientist? I would honestly say, I don't know. That's not my area of research, okay? I don't know. But they know all of a sudden all the science. And the thing is that not only do they do that, instead of really knowing the science which they don't know, they take out clips out of context and talk about it, and then talk about evidence-based medicine. If you're an evidence-based medicine guy, how can you even then take posts out of context, misrepresent them, make fun of them, and then have a big ego boost that you just parroted what everybody else is saying and saying, I'm a scientist. You're not a scientist. You're an 8th grade science teacher with a huge ego. You don't know the science, okay? Science changes. There's no new information available. And no matter how uncomfortable it is, we need to face the truth. We need to go after the truth, and not just it's easy to say what we already know, okay? So again, ego does not belong in science. Knowledge belongs in science. Questioning belongs in science, okay? Thanks.